You're not going to believe this, but we just had a computer crash. My camera now has stopped working. We had a test run with Dino about half an hour ago. Everything's working perfectly. Now, just going to do it live, it's all crashed. It wouldn't go live on the phone that we're on now. It won't connect back to my camera. So somehow I've got to try and work out a way of getting Dino back on my screen. When Nikki comes round this side, your microphone's dropped down, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to try and get her to take over and speak to you. And then I'm going to try and log into my computer at the same time to try and get this working. But firstly, thank you for being here, if you're here. And if you can see us and hear us, what a marvelous response to the last one. And I know there's a certain person that may be watching now who shared a broken plate story. And that has given a lot of people the strength to come forward, and they've identified themselves with being their own broken plate. So we've been inundated with different stories. What I'm trying to do is get Dino on. I want to get Nikki just to come in now and take over while I can try and sort out this computer confusion, and we'll try again. So he's ready to answer the questions. Hi, Nick.
Hi, everybody. We are still trying to get the show on the road. It must go forward. So yeah, Colin's just about to go on and see if we can get Dino. Quite a lot's been going on for the last 3 weeks. I know that you lot, or some of you, have been still stuck in the same old system. Some of us are still fighting, or there's a lot of us still fighting. I am just going to grab my notes because friends of ours have just had a really good...
Why don't we go about the fact that BBC North had just re-showed a story that was part of the documentary to highlight that York still haven't, or the gym in question still hasn't apologised to the people, even after the documentary, even after a lot of public awareness has been made about certain coaches who still have not been prosecuted or charged with any offence. So I think that's where Nikki's trying to come in from.
I am, sorry.
And then you're going to read it from there, because I really want to try and get this on.
Okay, so there was an article that they've managed to get out there, and I'm going to read what they say in this article. Stan Wild carried the Olympic torch through York in 2012 ahead of the Olympic Games in London. The report by the British Gymnastics Independent Complaints Process, ICP, said that the family were isolated and treated terribly by the club. They should never have been excluded. They were not at fault. The family filed a complaint with the ICP in July 2020, 8 years after the alleged abuse. They said the governing body had failed to properly investigate their daughter's claim, with the complaint later upheld. The report added, it is wholly wrong to punish those who have the courage to disclose misconduct who should be supported. Ex-Olympic gymnast Mr. Wild, now 80, was expelled by British Gymnastics in 2020 due to safeguarding again, according to its website. This leads me back to the banned list, when on our last podcast I explained that one of the people that we definitely knew had charges was under safeguarding. Now, it doesn't matter when the coach was suspended or when the coach had allegations, it matters afterwards as well. So when they do have safeguarding, but they have a criminal offence, then that needs to change. Stan Wild is now another one. His allegations haven't been proven, but the case has been settled, and there's enough that these victims have been through, and I think that one needs to change as well. Kirsty, now 18, said she used to absolutely love going to gymnastics, but that her experience completely changed my perspective. I could have been really good at gymnastics and really improved, she said. And to still think that British Gymnastics have put this child in a place where she was enjoying her experience, and they've completely ruined that for her. How dare you? How dare they take that dream away from that little kid? It doesn't matter if they're the gymnasts are still children, and nobody is listening to the children, to the families. So that's the second one. There's two now under safeguarding, and I've also found a few more. And I have links on Google, which anybody can find. If you search the people on the banned list, you can find newspaper articles. They're very hidden, but you can find the newspaper articles of what was happening at the time. So I think this definitely needs to be changed. There must be, and there's still also coaches that I know of who need to be on that list.
Okay, I'm speaking from behind the camera. I'm really sorry. Apparently the visual was sideways, so this is turning into a train wreck, and we're going to try and unpack this train wreck. I'm going to try and call Dino via my mobile. I'm going to do it that way, and I'm going to hold it up to the screen, and we're just going to try. I'm going to get Nikki to go the other side of the screen, and we're just going to be fluid. And I'm sure there's many people hopefully laughing. I hope you're still with us. Let me try a different way, because I don't know why. I don't know what's happening with the computer. So let's do this first. That's really for. Nikki, do you want to go the other side of the camera, and we'll try and do this in a way that's just going to work. My days. Let me go,
What?
Hopefully, is that better?
And yeah, I've got you on the phone.
Hi, Dino.
Yeah, sure.
Now, what I'm going to do, we're in the middle of a train wreck. After the test run that we've done, which worked seamlessly, the camera has crashed and the software on the computer seems to have crashed. It's like I've been sabotaged. So what I'm doing is I'm going to highlight, and what I'm going to do is turn you sideways on my phone, hold you up to the screen, and then we can start with you answering the questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's easy to use MS Teams or something otherwise.
Well, yeah, but I haven't got a camera connected, so that's what I could try any other method. But until it recognises the camera, you won't be able to see me. I could get you on big screen. That's what I'm trying to do, is get you on big screen. So for now, what I'm going to try and do is do this, like so, and then hold you.
I can see him.
Here.
We can see him.
Can you see him clearly?
Yes, we can.
Okay, now let me turn.
I don't know
up.
what Dino can see.
Now
You can see the phone.
Now, Dino, you probably can't see me at all, can you? So what I'm going to try and do is rectify this, but what I can hear, or what the people are saying, they can see and hear you. So as awkward as this is...
Let me switch with you, and then he can see you.
Okay, all right. And then can I ask, could you just start, firstly, can I thank you for coming on board? I'm sorry that it's not in the professional way that we had planned, but I really do appreciate you giving your time. There's a lot of people in our community that really do need help. And I wondered if you could start answering the questions that you received before, please.
Yeah, of course. So, just start off with, my name's Dino Nocivelli. I'm a lawyer and a partner at Leigh solicitors specialising in representing abuse survivors. And I appreciate you asking me to talk, Carlton, specifically about abuse in gymnastics. So there's 7 questions people have sent in already. One of them is, do you deal with civil cases only? Yeah, that's right. There's 2 separate paths, I suppose. One is in relation to criminal law, whereby the police will investigate, and the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, will act as the lawyers for the complainants and look to prosecute alleged abusers, defendants. Instead, I act in civil cases, so bringing cases against individual gymnastic clubs, against individual abusers, against British Gymnastics for sexual abuse and for systematic failings. One of the questions is, how do you build a case against a deceased individual? Now, a key aspect of any case is to prove the allegations of abuse. in relation to a deceased individual, it's harder because, of course, they can't provide a defence to any allegations. There's arguments about whether or not a fair trial is possible because only one person is able to give their evidence. What we're looking for, predominantly in relation to that, is as much of evidence as possible, similar to Jimmy Savile, whereby you have lots of similar fact evidence. So people who are just saying the same thing, but don't know each other, how can they say that unless it's true? So that similar fact evidence can be very helpful to build up a case against a deceased individual, but it is harder. And the defendant will say not only are you out of time to bring a case, but their ability to have a fair trial is also harmed by the individual alleged perpetrator being deceased.
Okay.
There's quite a lot of questions, Carson, so I'll try to work my way through them.
Yeah, sure.
What steps can we take to seek compensation for historical sexual abuse? First thing is speaking to a specialist abuse lawyer. I think it's really important that whenever you're speaking to any lawyer, you make sure they know what they're doing and they specialise in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to speak to someone about a divorce, obviously speak to a specialist divorce lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Conveyancing, speak to a conveyancing lawyer. But probate lawyer, abuse lawyer, it may seem really simple, but that in itself will save a lot of time and stress, hopefully, because not only will a lawyer know what advice to give you, but to make sure it's correct, it's up to date, and also it should be at their fingertips. These are things they shouldn't have to be researching and relying upon barristers to give advice on. They should know the law, that's what their job is. After you've reached out and spoken to an abuse lawyer, they should give you advice about who the defendant is, the prospects of success, some of the hurdles which need to be faced, and then they will start to obtain documentation and witness evidence. Key aspect for any abuse lawyer is to make sure that they win the case, obviously for the client. After that is to consider what the impact has been. So often they will instruct a psychiatrist to consider the impact on someone's life, not only from a psychological point of view, but also in relation to pain and suffering, impact on education, employment prospects, relationships, drug, self-harm, suicidal, ideation and attempts. Looking at the full picture of impact on someone's life, their job is then to try to negotiate a settlement if possible. However, if a defendant defends a case on whatever ground, you may have to start court proceedings and proceed to trial, but only about 2 to 3% of cases go to trial. The vast majority do settle, and you want your lawyer to be absolutely frank and honest with you. How long will this take? How difficult is it? Is it a slam dunk of a case? Any lawyer who says you want a slam dunk of a case is lying, because there is no case like that. There's always hurdles, there's always question marks. Nothing in life is black and white. It's multicoloured. And that's, to be totally honest, you need to be honest with survivors. There's a significant trust issue in the abuse they suffered, often by someone who is for trust. The last thing we can do as lawyers is to not be transparent. Some of the other matters in here is about is mandatory reporting the law. So mandatory reporting is saying that certain people in regulated activities, in positions of power and trust, should be under a legal duty to report abuse. In England and Wales, it's not a law yet. It was recommended as law in late 2022 by an independent inquiry. Still hasn't been implemented. Will it be implemented prior to the election later this year? That's it. And politics moves very slowly.
And Dino, sorry, can I ask, why does it take so long to pass things through like that?
It's a good question. I think that policy and politics are different. And often rather than what is the highest priority, sadly. It's just the way it is. The fact winning votes every 4 to 5 years, keeping their jobs and to keep it sort of lots of the street.
We seem to have lost connection. If you can hear me, Dino, you're back. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. So that's often what happens. Something like reporting is a concern that we put forward too many allegations of abuse. Allegations of abuse need to be investigated. Investigations need to be done by the police. People coming forward to make allegations of abuse may need to have therapy. That will put a strain on the NHS. So it's not trying to be cynical about it. But you can understand that all of that will incur further money and time when we're really, under restraints in relation to the criminal justice system, the NHS, prison spaces, judges, police officers, everything. So that's why it's difficult, because it will create a cultural change. I think it's really important, not just to protect abuse victims and survivors, but also for whistleblowers. The fact is, if your morals and your ethics says, I should report Dave because I think he's a dodgy coach or a dodgy teacher or whatever else, that's your morals and ethics. They don't pay your mortgage, by the way. So if you do this, it will have an impact on your job, your career progression. May well do. If in doubt, most people will say no. That's how it seems to be. And this isn't just in theory. I've seen this in practice in churches and schools. You ever watch Spotlight, which is about the Catholic Church in America? We do see this. Cover-up is what kills people. So we do need mandatory reporting to be enforced. We needed it enforced decades ago. We need to be enforced ASAP. So that's a really important thing. One of the questions is, how can he help? Who's Dino? How can he help? So I think it's a collective. I always said this in Carlton, we've spoken about this before. The question is, why? For most things in life, why do you eat pizza? Why do you go for a run? Why do you do this podcast? Why do you do this as a job? We need to create change. There's so much bad in the world. I think raising awareness and enabling people to talk will break the silence of abuse. Remove the taboo. If you remove the taboo of abuse, it means instead of people disclosing when they're, on average in their 40s, disclose when you're 14, 12, 10, whatever age it is. It's beneficial for numerous reasons. One, it stops other children suffering abuse. Two, it stops your abuse. Instead of happening 100 times, it'll happen once, which is still horrendous. But these improvements, getting help and treatment is much better the sooner you get it. For the impact from the last and other aspects of your life. It's better for the economy because it will reduce the need for state benefits. It will reduce the impact on the NHS justice system elsewhere. And ideally, it will stop abuse. There is no cure to abuse. So if we can stop it, that has to be the way forward.
For sure.
It really is key for us. So that's why we do what we do. Saying all of that, talking is good, talking's also cheap. Actions are expensive. With institutions, we often need to bring them to account because that's the only way it happens. If, let's say I'm sat outside the kind of M4 and I see Carlton driving past and he's doing 120, and I say, Carlton, naughty boy, you're going to tell you off for speeding. Tomorrow you will speed again because you don't give a hoot. If I say Carlton is a 90 quid fine, free ticket, 3 points on your licence, you'll be like, 90 quid fine, you have no hour, I'm not going to do that for a while. And then you do it again a couple of months, a couple of years later, and you go, Jesus, well, I'm definitely never speeding again. Unfortunately, financial punishments do create change because when we're looking at sports and schools and all of them, that's a simple fact.
Hang on, you just gone. You're back.
Yeah, that's cool. They're there to put up on finances like everywhere else is. That's something I do need. And unfortunately, that's the way to do it. Most people doing these sports are really good people, but it's the bad people which are a problem, and it's the good people who allow bad people to do bad things, which is the real problem. Because that's when we see systematic failings. No one to be damaged together. It's difficult to accept failings, and it's difficult to accept this is where you change. And you used to pretend everything's rosy and sometimes just can happen.
Hold on there, Dino. It's gone very staccato. If you can see me, you're very choppy.
Okay, I can see you.
Okay, so just go back about 30 seconds. It was coming through very choppy with what you was discussing.
So just in relation to institutions, it's really important that we do bring them to account. It's really important that they are held accountable where failures have happened, and often we have to use civil action to do that, to enforce change. Sadly, it seems to be the only way that happens. Now, most institutions are really good. They want to do good by children, and at large, no one wants, of course, child abusers within their realms. No one wants to damage their own brand. So we need to help them do that. At the same time, no one wants to expose failings. You know, if you ask yourself, tell yourself 10 bad things about yourself, you're not going to do it, because it's inherently, you want to protect oneself, you want to protect one's brand, one's sport. So we need total transparency, and often that has to be through civil litigation to expose the failings, and then people will hopefully stand up and what's gone wrong and to change report. One question is about civil courts and does it involve jury, not single judge. Juries are for criminal cases, not civil. So same as with witness evidence, you're given to draft your own witness statement and work on it obviously with a lawyer. It's a key piece of evidence. It's very different to the criminal side. So they're about, should we talk to the ICP? What is the ICP? What's the point of it? The ICP is a disciplinary process.
Hang on, you've gone choppy again for some reason. I don't know if it's your end or our end. Let me start with that ICP again. Sorry, Dino.
So some of the questions about the ICP, what is the ICP? What's the purpose of it? Should we talk to the ICP or not? My view is yes. I think that the lawyers are always very cautious about making sure that contradict itself or there's not differences in evidence. Saying that, it's really important to report abusers to the police. We need abusers to face punishment personally, and we need the criminal justice system to work so that those people cannot be on the streets potentially abusing other children. But the ICP is an internal disciplinary process, and I think it's really important that when we're looking at the disciplinary process, institutions should be held to account, and so should abusers. How can someone ban a coach called Dave, for example, if they haven't got the evidence in front of them? It is so key. One thing I would say though is the ICP needs to be public. So of course there's a list of banned coaches, as we all know. But those lists of banned coaches, what are they banned for? Do you know? No. Where's the information? Right. So you don't know. So it's just a safeguarding concern. It says.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know how many of them in your local area?
No.
Do you know that?
No.
You don't have it in York or Southampton or Nottingham or Bristol.
That's right.
You haven't got a clue.
That's right.
That's a bit worrying in itself.
Yeah.
And I think that is there any links to the disciplinary report? There should be. There are in other sports. So there's lots of football coaches. We know why they're banned. We've read the disciplinary reports. We know in athletics and tennis and swimming. So it can be done in other sports. I think it's really important. Oh, it's just random names, and with total respect, my name's unique, Dino Nocivelli. Some of the names on there are quite generic. Dan Jones. How many Dan Jones are there in the UK? Do you want to guess? Yeah. 1,000, 10,000? It could be anyone. It could be you. How about Carlton Webster? What about Carlton Webster on there? It's a relatively common name, but to be honest with you, Carlton. Perhaps there's 100 of you. But how do we know if this is you or not? We don't know. So I do think it needs that clarity. It's a Carlton, it's not, I'll use an example. It's a Dan Jones from Southampton, and this is what he's been done for. If it's a criminal conviction, state it. Give the BBC link or whatever else, the other media link.
For sure.
It needs to be on there. There's no reason for that not to be. You've already named them anyway, so you've gone half the way, you need to go the full way. But I do think it's important. The alternative is that if you don't have the information, the disciplinary process cannot discipline someone. There's just no evidence. So if it's just your word against the coach, how can they make a finding against the coach realistically? I know they get into, they can analyse both sides of the evidence, but in most cases, it won't be enough. And you've got to always flip on the other side of the act for abuse of violence exclusively. I also got to look at natural justice and fairness. if someone accused me of abuse, but it's only you making the allegation, I should be acquitted fully, found not guilty, not disciplined. So it has to, if people have information, you have to provide it. If the ICP fails and says, look, there's not enough and there's been a cock up or else, you can criticise them. But you cannot criticise if you haven't contributed. If you don't vote in an upcoming election, you have no right to criticise and make points about politics. You haven't been involved. So I think it's really important everyone who has information discloses to the ICP, gets this disciplinary processes in place, but then the findings to be public. Show me one ICP report, not one's been published.
Now, let me ask you a question, Dino, because we're in contact with a lot of people and they don't know who else is involved in another case. They're not speaking between themselves to find out if they may have corroborating evidence towards the same coach. How can people find out? How do they go about this? Because it seems a bit silly that they're not talking.
So the key sources of information that people collate it, first off, is the police. So the police could say, actually, we've got 20 allegations against Dave, the coach. They could collate that information. The second source is the ICP. They could say, actually, we've had 20 allegations. Third is lawyers. So let's say I'm pursuing a case against Stan Wild, which I did. I can say to my clients, by the way, I represent X amount of survivors, but also X amount of people have contacted me with allegations. Those are usually the main sources who collate information. I should know it because they all, the more information you have, the stronger the prospect of getting a disciplinary process, obtaining a criminal conviction, winning a civil case. Those are usually the three main sources. Now, there's lots of different organisations out there, therapies and charities and CICs and all the rest of it. Do they collate information or not? I don't know. But information and knowledge is power. And I think it's really important that when we're looking at these things, like I said, talk is cheap, but action is really important. And obtaining criminal convictions, winning civil cases, obtaining apologies, meeting the CEO of British Gymnastics, as my clients are going to be doing soon. That's the only way they get it.
I get it.
The way they will change. And I think they do want to change, because the fact is, if they want to change for the right reason, they want to change for, we don't want this to come back to our door. Change will happen. Change has to happen. So we need to work with them to ensure it happens, and it happens as soon as possible. At the same time, you can't just say we're safe now, and that's it. You need to also accept the failures in the past and understand how the hell did that happen.
For sure.
And what can we do to fix it.
For sure.
There's a question about national governing body disciplining themselves. I think the question is, for myself and Tony Gray Thompson, the ex-Paralympian now in House of Lords, been campaigning for a long time, along with others who are independent sports ombudsmen. I don't believe that national bodies should be governing and disciplining themselves.
Exactly.
The main reason for that is that if it's true or not, it appears to be a lack of independence. So for an abuse survivor, they feel it's an inside job, even if it's not. And that's a lot of perception isn't great. Secondly, each sport has different rules and regulations and guidance and safeguarding principles. So if you have a child who's 12, the question is, if they go to a school, state school in Nottingham, Cardiff, Nottingham, Bristol, London, should they be under the same safeguarding? Yes. However, in sport, the answer is no. So performing in football is very different to martial arts, very, very different to rowing, swimming, gymnastics. It's literally like the Wild West in relation to safeguarding. So having an independent sports ombudsman means that when you're being assessed, you're being assessed, and you're going to be assessed by someone who's totally unrelated to the sport, so that's fair. And also, it's being assessed against a set of standards which are universal for every single sport. So it doesn't mean that in martial arts, the DBS checks and the amount of funding for safeguarding officers is so poor, you're going to get the same standards if it was football in the Premier League, which is, so much money, so much safeguarding, so much exposure because of exposure in the media, etc. It's fairer, it's cleaner, and it's likely to be a lot more transparent because, again, it's just going to be published as the findings are then published for coaches, for our teachers and others who are disciplined. So we do need that urgently. I also think it's fairer on the governing body because you've got to damned if you do, damned if you don't. To regulate one of your own is really difficult. So just think about it honestly. Say, look, we're going to pass it to an independent body. It's probably easier for them to do that. And they can say, you know what, we're just a party of this now. Someone else can decide it. Like a referee in a football match or someone adjudicating in the gymnastic competition. That's fairer, isn't it? Rather than having three of your own team judging a competition, even if you judge it fairly, everyone thinks you'll be biased to your naturally. So you kind of damn if you do, damn if you don't. So it does seem that would make a lot more sense.
I think so.
It would get a lot of buy-in. I think it's the fairest thing to do. It hasn't been done yet, but hopefully soon. Tanya and I continue to stress this a lot. I think that's most of the questions here.
That's fantastic so far. And again, thank you, Dino, especially the way we're having to do this so Heath Robinson. But I'm sure a lot of people have heard and got answers to those questions and have a bit more understanding about the ICB, because that seems to be the biggest bone of contention in our culture at the moment. And I just want to ask you, how has BG allowed for someone under investigation to still be able to coach? How has that become part of the process? I don't get how they've got that in. If they're trying to put the gymnast welfare first and they actually care and they're trying to change, why are you allowing coaches under investigation to still be in charge of minors?
So it's a fair question, and I think that in most areas of safeguarding, so teachers, scout leaders, football coaches and the like, if you're being investigated for certain offences, so section, for example, you would be suspended from your job. There's a lot of my job immediately. So the problem with gymnastics, often the allegations do yourself investigation instead of described as low level or
we just lost connection again briefly. Sorry about that. Sorry, Dino.
That's right.
Sorry.
So with that, so when we listen to safeguarding, I think it is quite black and white in that whenever someone crosses the line with a child who is potentially in a relationship, that there should be an immediate suspension pending a full investigation. It should be in place. That is a difficulty.
I agree, and I'm just going to fill in the blanks. It's still going choppy and the reception's going mad. It's like everything that can go wrong is going wrong. I can see myself on Dino's phone. We can't see Dino. We've just got a black screen and a revolving disc. The phone's shaking. My legs are shaking because I'm squatting up against the wall because I didn't expect to be in this position, and the chairs are over there and the two massive screens are over there. But look, I tell you what we're going to try and do. Dino, I'm going to have to ask you a huge favour. Is there a possible chance we can reschedule and do this again and I can have the setup professionally? Because, right? And what I'm going to do is see if we can just let you finish off with anything else you think that we could do that could help anybody, because there's one question I want to ask. Can you have a civil case without being involved in an ICB? And there we have it. We've disappeared again. I don't know. Is it?
Yes, it is answer.
Oh, this is just. I'm so sorry, people, because this is a great conversation with some great knowledge. And we have the Gremlin City. Hang on, he's back. He's very blurry, but he's back. And I'll see if we can get an answer. I'm just going to ask. Hang on 1 second. Stay there. Stay. Give me 2 seconds. Romo and kids, can you hear me? Robo and kids, can you hear me? Can you turn off everything that you're using
just in case the Wi-Fi is overloaded. There's a 5-second delay, so maybe he's gone, is he? No. Oh.
No, he's back.
Oh,
we
good.
got you.
Right, we got you. Dino, so sorry. I'm going to attempt this for the last time, and I hope this one works, yeah? Oh, my days, I'm sorry.
Show must go on.
Yeah. The question was, your finger here, that's it. The question was, can you have a civil case against British Gymnastics without being involved in an ICP? Do you need to be in an ICP to have civil action against BG?
No, you don't. No, so you don't. So it's not just in theory, but it's in practice as well. So the most recent cases we settled against alleged abuse by Stan Wild, who was the coach of York Gymnastics Club. One case settled against York Gymnastics Club, the other one settled against British Gymnastics. The findings were obtained after settlement, but one of them was not involved at all. She didn't bring her own ICP complaint or anything else, so no, you don't need it. The fact is, it all comes down to evidence. If you have 5 witnesses who provide evidence to a criminal court, 5 who provide evidence to the ICP, and 5 who provide it in a civil case, and the same people, that's what's being adjudicated, that's what's been decided. There are different burdens of proof and standards of proof in each of those separate matters. So criminal, ICP, civil. But no, the reason why we say pursue the ICP as well is that we need people to be disciplined and we need lessons to be learned, but they are totally separate to a civil case. Okay. So, most recent one was going to be documentary. Yeah, they settled prior to receiving the ICP for one of them, and the other one didn't even bring an ICP at all.
So, okay, so I'm glad you clarified that. And my last question will be this then. If I am involved in an ICP case that has gone on for a period of time where I'm not sure if I'm going to get a conclusion, could I switch or change and have a civil action against British Gymnastics without that ICP?
Yeah, you can have an ICP and a civil action. They're not mutually exclusive, to be frank with you. Right. Similar to, if you think about it, let's say you suffered a physical assault by one of your colleagues in a workplace. You could bring a personal injury claim, and you could also bring an employment claim, and that employee could also face disciplinary processes themselves. So they could be disciplined by their employer because you punched someone, they're discipline you. In the meantime, the victim survivor could be suing them for a personal injury claim themselves. They are not mutually exclusive at all. One's looking to punish and to investigate the defendant and the institution, and the other one's trying to provide compensation and resolution for the victim survivor. So it's not one or all. And also, regardless, the ICP may not give you the answers you want, but you don't know what information's gone into it. You need to control your destiny. So that's what I would say about that. I think the ICP sometimes has been given a bit of a golden heron kind of status. And it's important, but these things are taking a long time. And as you can see, the civil cases are resolving prior to the ICP. The ICP then comes out and it's like, well, it's exactly as you said in the civil case. Yeah, of course it would be. Why would it be different? The other key point is that the ICP findings will not be relied upon by a civil judge. They can't be, according to the law. Each judge and tribunal has to make their own findings. So even though the evidence could be helpful, the actual findings have no weight. There's a case of Lindsay and Hoyle from, God knows how long it is, but it's really important because the fact is judges are supposed to have independence to form their own decisions based on the evidence in front of them. Based on the evidence in front of them, they're not being bound by a judgment in another case, especially an ICP, which is based on past probabilities. In a criminal matter, it's beyond all reasonable doubt, so a jury finds Dave guilty. In a civil case, they're not going to overrule that because the burden of proof is so much higher. But ICP, civil, both of them are on the balance probabilities. So a judge is not being bound by an ICP, especially as it's not got it's not an adversarial process, so no one's cross-examining the evidence, same as it would do in a civil case. So that's the reason why I've said to clients and others, the ICP is very important, similar to a disciplinary process, but it's not the be-all and end-all.
For sure, because
We're relying upon it.
if I've just understood you correctly, it has no legal basis. They're not going to rely upon it in a civil course. I don't get why you go down the ICP route, Dino. I'm a bit lost now. Why don't we just do a civil case?
Well, I think that because it's not one or the other, you can do both.
Yeah, but and also, could you use two different law firms while you're doing it? Could you have a law firm doing one with the ICP and another law firm doing the civil case? Or does it have to be the same law firm?
I don't know of any law firm who would be involved in the ICP.
So there's no law firms in the ICP at all?
I was never involved in an ICP. No, so if you're raising a complaint to the Football Association, let's say, or swimming or athletics or anyone else, about an individual, they're looking to discipline them. So what happens, similar to the police and TPS, the sporting body will have their lawyers looking to prosecute. The person facing the allegations in the disciplinary process will get their own lawyers, legal team. But you are a witness. You're the complainant. You're not a party as such. So it is different. And if that doesn't make logical sense. So using the example of you punching me, we're both colleagues, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get disciplined by our boss, which is making up a company X, right? Company X is going to discipline you now because you punched me.
Mm-hmm.
Company X will get their lawyers to prosecute you, in essence, because you punched me.
Mm-hmm.
You will get your lawyers to defend yourself. You don't want to lose your job, do you? So you get your lawyers. I'll give evidence saying Carlton punched me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get lawyers because I'm not on trial, am I? You are, because you've allegation against you. That's a disciplinary process. That's what they're looking at.
Wow.
So,
I think there's people that I've spoken to that believe the ICP is a legal process and they've got lawyers. I think we might have to clarify that in more detail on a later date because, go on, Nikki, that's...
Dino, I just got a quick question that would add on to that. So if there was
Do you want to swap sides of me?
if there was a current person, okay, if there was a current person with a complaint about a coach right now, what would they do? Would they go to the ICP? Because I thought that was only people that complained within a short space of something.
What's happening?
He's gone.
No.
He didn't want to answer my question.
Oh, stay with me, people. Let's see. What's my Wi-Fi's connected? We're all good. We're all good. Come on. Oh, please work. That was a really good question. Again, stay with us, and hopefully when it's edited, I can make it a bit smoother.
Ah, he's back. Hang on.
All right.
I'll call again.
Go on, take it.
Oh no, it's me. I'll switch. No, wait, I've got your tummy.
Have you? Shall I try calling him again?
Yeah.
Stay with me, people. I don't know why this is.
Because I
would think this is sabotage. You wouldn't it? Honestly, let me try doing it on here.
It's the darkness
Right,
trying
hang on.
to shield our light,
Hang
but
on.
we're going to carry on, hon.
Come on, phone. You're not beating us tonight. We're gonna make this happen. As embarrassing as this could be, I don't think you could have a worse combination of everything going wrong. I don't think that's us, Nick. I mean, my Wi-Fi is strong.
It's that storm behind.
All right, let me try. I haven't got his
Let
number.
me try and connect and you have a chat to the
Okay,
camera.
hang on. You go.
Yeah. No, you
Oh,
just say
sorry.
that.
Yeah. We're trying to get this last question, and I've got to keep it real. It's fluid. We'll then wrap it up. I really wanted the interaction from yourselves, asking him questions, us being able to sit in a chair, you see him on big screen, and we really dive into it. But I tell you what, I've just found out there. Maybe I'm getting the impression, or I believe I've spoken to people who have said to me that I think the ICP, or they believe they're in some kind of legal case, and from what...
Hey, yeah, we got him back. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
That's
interrupt
right,
you.
no, crack on.
We got him
I
back.
don't think they are.
Okay.
Right, is he there?
Hang on, let me just line this up.
Hiya.
Sorry,
Hi.
Dino, I don't know if you heard my last question. But I had somebody today asking me, actually, where do they go now? They had a complaint about a coach, which they've complained about before. And
like I was like, well, I have no idea. Like you could go through BG and a club welfare officer and a lead officer and blah blah blah. But I would maybe go straight to Lado. Do I go outside or do I go inside? Because as far as I thought, the ICP was only for a short period of time. He might have gone again. You know?
Yeah, just reading. I'm sorry.
Got ya.
Hello?
Yep, you're here. Go on, speak away, Dino.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because if you look at the independent complaints.
Damn it. He's coming.
There's a list of. There's also the police process protocol as well. Both of them, they're both actually broken. The page are not found. It's not particularly helpful for people complaints. I don't know if you've looked at that before, Carlton.
No, go on, repeat that again. Looked up the.
So if you go into Google, independent complaints process, gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep, I've downloaded the whole lot.
But if you go on the first link,
Yep.
the fact is, those first two, the full list of Q&As in the protocol, if you click on either of them, the page is no longer found.
Yeah, mate, Dino, I posted that on Twitter, must have been 2 months ago. I swear to God, you can't find anything through the British Gymnastics website about the ICP at all. I'm sure I posted that, I think it was in February.
Yeah.
I even found a picture of Anne, who was that woman that was the one before? I even found a picture of her up there while I was looking for her.
Jane Allen.
Jane Allen.
Yeah.
Jane Allen was still on the website, Dino.
Yeah.
So,
In relation to people raising them, is it of a police matter? Do you need to raise it with the police? I think raising it with the police, with LADO, with BG, trying to get legal advice, all of those things are necessary, just so you make sure you correct the advice. To be done. The purpose of the ICP.
okay. I'm going to try and lean around and do that, yeah. Now, Dino, you've given us some great advice, and I think we're going to cut it there because your patience might be running thin. I bet the people watching's patience are going thin. Wi-Fi is running thin. No one's even on the screen, so I've got to come back round here. This is okay. So
we got him there.
have we?
Again, but I think he's done.
So Dino, I tell you what we're going to do. I think I'm going to stop it so that your patience doesn't wear out, the people watching don't wear out, and he's probably gone again. Yeah. Look, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and call him. Dino, I'm just going to try and call you and just put you on speaker, so at least that will work. All right, I'm just going to call. I can't hear, and I've just got to say thank you, and I bless him. What a man! What a man! What an absolute man! What a guy to even come and do that. Hang on, let's just stop this. Just stop this. Right? Oh, you're there. Should we just try a normal call? No, that's not good. The other goes. How can I call him, Nick? I can't ring him on.
Just come off the.
Oh dear, oh dear! I've got to ring through the London number, and Jesus, hang on. Sorry, people. Talk about terrible, shocking TV.
Never rains straight poor.
I know. I'm just going to try this, and I don't know why this is happening. I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to go call. Not camera at all. Now, what I was trying to say was, prior to this, I'm not sure it's going to work. I'll make my apologies now, and I'll send him a voicemail. Listen. I think that there's people. Nikki, you might as well come back and sit now because you're looking at that. Looking at. All right. Well, look. What I'm going to say is, I think there's people involved in an ICP that may believe they're in a legal case. From what Dino said, I'm going to watch it back on the edit, and I know it was choppy and we had a few breaks, but it didn't sound like it to me. And I think his exact words were, "No law firm would be involved in an ICP." Now I find that strange, don't you? That's what you said, Nikki, wasn't it? No law firm would be involved in an ICP. So if there's no law firm involved, that means there's no barristers involved. That means I don't get what legally you could have And I think a civil action using Leigh would be a faster, or how can I put it, an outcome that would have legality to it.
A less painful journey, maybe.
But have some legality to it. You're going to have a barrister, you're going to have a law firm that knows what they're doing. And, I think that would be a much better way to go. So, look, I think this has been a night of confusion. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Nikki, come back this way, and we're just, as long as you don't touch the camera, we're getting together and go, look.
That's good.
This has been...
I'm not going to get in there.
Oh, can't you?
No,
this has been
specific.
An absolute mess, but it's been full of great information. What I've got to try and do is work out how to get you that information the right way. As you can see, we're in a different location. There's lots happening in our lives behind the scenes. I'll spare you all those details. But I swear to God, before this podcast started, it was absolutely perfect. And then we just had a train wreck. So I hope you've got out of it something that's helped. Visually, I hope you bear with it. Maybe it should be an audio podcast, apart from me shouting down to my children and stuff. But,
We'll edit.
Exactly.
A little bit.
I'll speak to Dino, and I'll try and get another podcast as quick as possible, and we'll get this sorted. I apologise for the unprofessionalism, but I love the content. As choppy as it was, there's some nuggets there. And if anyone is still here at this end point, and you're in an ICP, we need to look right into this, because I don't think that is what it's... I don't think it's fit for purpose, but I didn't know that no law firm would be involved. No legal recourse. That seems very strange. So I think we need to look down different avenues, and that's what Gymnasts Voice will do, and that's what we will try and provide.
It's not all the only people that are waiting in an ICP. There's a lot of other people that are trying to be heard as well, that aren't even in these ICPs. And if everybody can just come on board and stop fighting in between, and stop the playing games. It's one fight to try and get justice within gymnastics and go and clean it up. Oh my God. We're as transparent as ever, sitting in the office. Not very professional at all.
Yes,
but we are what we are, okay? And we're trying to help. If people are asking for help, just listen to them. They might not always want to speak. They might not always want the help right there. They'll come to you. People have to stop pushing. People have to start protecting, and remember that once upon a time these little gymnasts were kids, and they got hurt by the coaches.
Sure.
That's all this is about.
And
then those coaches need to acknowledge what they've done and look at the scars they've created, because these women and men are living with it every single day.
To add to what Nikki said as well, right? The fighting amongst yourselves and the disagreements that can be had on subjects like this, you need to understand whomever is involved in this, whomever has received or is going through trauma, you're going to have an outburst now and then. At least be compassionate to the outburst. Even if they have 10 outbursts, they're hurting. These people are suffering. So it's like, I can't know that someone's been through X, 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 and X. And 90% of the time they've been as reasonable as hell. But then on one occasion they've gone absolutely mental, because the frustration of everything they're going through is coming out, especially after 2 or 3 years if you've been waiting for an answer.
Way longer.
But there's just, but I'm just saying, I can understand that. Do I like receiving it? No. But would I let her shout or him shout at me? For hell yeah.
Exactly. And are we going to run? No. We are not going to run. We'll stand beside them.
And then I'm not going to judge that person for that outburst, because I know where that's come from. Who would we be as people if we were judging people who were a bit upset after they're suffering some trauma? I mean, that's just a madness.
And they still haven't got their justice.
Right.
They can't heal because it's still out there in the wind.
Right.
And all of this, they're just getting re-traumatized over and over again, having to tell the same story to a different person, to different person. Just stop. Just stop it all.
Right, and not only that, and to add, to coincide with what you're saying, don't ever stop fighting. Don't ever stop believing. And don't ever think that talking to us is nagging. No, it isn't. We're listening to every conversation. We're listening to everything you've got to say. We're not here to pass judgment. We're here to be your voice and assist you get what you need. And I'm hoping through the sideways viewing and Wi-Fi dropping out and my wife holding a mobile and me doing squats against the
Squeezing
wall.
onto a chair.
You found out that this ICP ain't fit for purpose. No law firm would be involved with it. Dino knows what he's talking about. I can't wait to have a proper conversation with him, which would be nice. But there's still probably more in this podcast, and you might find out through other various organisations, which I'm not going to mention any names, but what I will say is this. The truth will always out. All right? It always will. We're the most truthful people, as you can see, sitting here right now. You can't get more honest than this. All right? Got nothing to hide. Nothing in the closet. I don't care. There's nothing to hide. All we're here for is to help you and to help abuse people. Got no other agenda. I've got nothing else. I don't want nothing else from it. If we help one, be enough for me.
And we've already, I know we've already helped them. We've already helped
let's
them.
not do that because that'd be good. If we help two, it's enough for me. 3, 4, I don't give a monkeys. 1 is enough. All I'm here for is 1, to back up what Dino said, get BG governed, get this ombudsman in place, stop them self-governing themselves.
Get the mandatory reporting through.
Right?
God.
All that kind of stuff. That's what we're about. That's what Gymnasts Voice is about. That's what we're pushing for. There's a lot more behind the scenes. I know I keep saying this and it will come to fruition, and after tonight you might think, my God, where's the help? We do need help, but it was working. I swear to God. But anyway, I'm not going to say much more. I think you've been through enough, endured enough tonight. And I don't even know if the phone's working. I better look that side to see. We might be talking in over here, and the screen's gone blank. But are we
There's
still
5 people still in the fight.
Oh,
There's
thank God.
57 minutes.
All right,
We
well, look.
nearly made the hour. Oh, there's some messages, but I haven't been able to see them.
All right, shall we have a look and see? But you'll have to take the phone out. Take it out of the holder and you can see.